Asante. Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It is Tuesday, so let's dive straight into it. And let's dive deep into the world of ocean conservation with esteemed guests. We've got Mark Fitzgibbon in the building, our marine biologist at Cape Rad, as well as Helen Lockhart, a conservation and sustainability manager at the Two Oceans Aquarium. So yes, we are around ocean royalty, as they would say, and joining us to shed light on a groundbreaking effort of Mission Blue and the significance of False Bay's designation as a hope spot. Ooh,
Love
sounds
it.
exciting. Good morning.
Helen, Mark, good morning. Welcome. I love it how you emphasized esteemed.
Yes.
Because that's exactly what Mark is. It's lovely to have you guys here. And this is interesting because we've been trying to drag it out of you before we went live about Mission Blue. Helen, so talk to us. Mission Blue. What exactly is Mission Blue and the objective?
So Mission Blue is a global organization. It was founded by Her Deepness, speaking of royalty.
Her Deepness.
Dr. Sylvia Earle. She is 88, but she's a renowned oceanographer, marine biologist, explorer. She's done amazing things in the ocean, and she formed Mission Blue basically to raise awareness and to get more protection for the ocean. And at the core of Mission Blue are something called hope spots. And hope spots are what we're going to be talking about, the False Bay Hope Spot. But they're basically areas, protected areas for marine ecosystems that are critical for ocean health. So it's really, really very important. And what's exciting about hope spots is that they are nominated by communities, they're cared for by communities. So Mission Blue is all about basically inspiring action for exploring and protecting the ocean. So very, very exciting that we were able to host Mission Blue here in South Africa recently.
All right. Now, you speaking about like my home. I've been on this beach in False Bay specifically for all my life since a kid. And I'm a bit embarrassed because I believe that this actually happened in 2014 and I had no idea about it. So firstly, I'm feeling a bit like, why did I not get a chance to celebrate this? But I'm glad we are right now. What's the significance of obviously something like False Bay being declared a hope spot? What does that do for the actual area itself? What does that actually impact in the end of the day?
So I'm going to let Mark elaborate on this, but it is quite strange that it was 2014, which seems a very long time ago, and I'd actually even forgotten about it. I actually knew about the other hope spots, but I wasn't aware that False Bay was a hope spot.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And in 2014, Mission Blue weren't doing nominations yet. So they just identified certain areas around the world which are important and which are rich in biodiversity and interesting areas. So they designated False Bay as a hope spot. But like you said, no one knew about it. I didn't know about it.
So what is it about False Bay? What makes it such a crucial spot in terms of being declared a hope spot, in terms of also the ecosystem?
So False Bay is unique and extremely special, not just to South Africans, but to the entire world. It sits at this kind of intermediate section between the two beautiful oceans that surround South Africa. So there's a lot of mixing happening in there, and it creates these unique environments. And False Bay has the highest levels of endemism on our coastline. So you'll find things that you can find nowhere else in the world. Marine diversity, invertebrate diversity. There are shark species that are only found here. So it's a really special and unique space. And luckily, Mission Blue has, recognized the beauty of False Bay, and hopefully that will strive for more protection.
And it's not just the beauty that we're talking about here, but there's also potential threats to this, I would imagine. I mean, there's so many external impacts that can affect and change environments. What sort of threats is an area like False Bay facing right now, if any?
Lots.
So, of course, pollution. I know we all know about pollution. Plastic pollution is a problem all over the world. And then I would also say fishing, overfishing and unsustainable fishing is a problem, not just in False Bay, but on our entire coastline. And then I think for False Bay uniquely, because it's right next to such a big populous city, Cape Town, it's one of the capitals, habitat destruction would also come into play. So there are these man-made problems that are affecting False Bay, and that's just why we need these hope spots to, identify these areas of hope so that we can protect them.
Yeah, it's one of the saddest things for me. I was in the ocean yesterday and, just seeing a piece of plastic float in the ocean or seeing somebody just randomly just drop something, it is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. So I really do hope that this can shed a new light on it. 159 hope spots around the world. So Helen, how exactly are they then identified? I know like False Bay is unique in its own in terms of that biodiversity, but how do we identify a hope spot?
So yeah, they very much are about special areas that, as I said earlier, are critical for the ocean health. And basically they are areas that are nominated by communities and local organizations. So exactly, Cape Rad actually nominated False Bay Hope Spot in 2019, which is incredibly exciting because it kind of reignited the interest around False Bay. But what happens is that the community that is already working to protect that area gets nominates the area as a hope spot, and then it goes to a very special council with the IUCN, which is the International Union for Conservation of Nature. And Her Deepness, Dr. Sylvia Earle, she actually heads up that council, and they look at various things, scientific criteria, conservation criteria. Some of the things that they might ask is like, does the hope spot have high levels of endemism? As Mark said, are there animals and plants living there that don't live anywhere else in the world? Which is just, that blows my mind.
Yeah.
We've got this unique number of species that don't live anywhere else. So they'll ask questions around that. They'll ask, does this hope spot support important breeding and feeding grounds for animals? And then they'll also look at the human side of things. Is this hope spot significant for cultural reasons, historical reasons, spiritual reasons? And we know False Bay definitely has all of that. False Bay and the fishing communities that have lived there for many, many, many years. So great, history around False Bay. So those are some of the things that they look at. And then once the nomination goes through, then Mission Blue will support the community looking at helping with communications, expeditions, and scientific advisory.
Would love to get into that a little bit later. You guys are not going anywhere. There's still lots to talk about. But she sounds like the queen of Atlantis.
Definitely
She is.
Exactly.
I can't wait to dive into more of this conversation. Obviously, we're going to find out more about Rad as well as everything happening in this coastline. But for now, though, I got to be honest, it's smelling delicious right now. I think it's time to head to the kitchen. Wow.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. You're tuned into your Feel Good Breakfast Show Expresso right here on S3, and from beautiful flatbreads filled with all things delicious, we are now focusing once again on our oceans, and we are continuing our discussion on ocean conservation with Helen Lockhart, Conservation and Sustainability Manager at Two Oceans Aquarium, and also Mark Fitzgibbon, Marine Biologist at Cape Rad. Now, they are sharing insights into the profound impact of embracing hope spots. Lovely. Welcome back. Having a good time so far?
Yes.
Yes, and we look forward to sharing your flatbreads later.
Yes, absolutely. We made them just for you, Mark, just for you.
Thank you.
Listen, but let's get down to business here. So we had a lovely discussion earlier on with False Bay being officially declared as a hope spot. We know that marine ecosystems worldwide are under threat, but the difference of buying into a hope spot, Helen, what can that mean for that potential hope spots? We need people to get involved and really look at it from a different angle.
Well, I think just the name Hope Spot says a lot, because there's so much doom and gloom. We were talking a little bit about the threats facing the ocean and facing False Bay earlier, and Hope Spots are about hope. They're about celebrating. They're about people actively working together on behalf of the ocean. And I think that's what's really, really exciting for me, is that it's not just something that, something is declared a marine protected area.
And then, woohoo, we got the certificate.
Yeah, get the certificate and you walk away. This is actually about communities coming together, organizations coming together and really working for the good of the ocean. And I think that's so motivating. And the fact that Hope Spots are a global network, this is the plan that basically the entire ocean will be covered by these Hope Spots, by this protection. So I love that idea of, protecting our blue planet and protecting the blue heart of the planet. Sylvia Earle, Her Deepness, has this great saying, no blue, no green. And I think that's what's really, really important about Hope Spots. So it's about hope, it's about celebration, and it's also about, caring for that which we love.
And it's about looking at these areas differently, because we were just saying False Bay, we didn't know that it was declared a hope spot a couple of years ago already, but it's really coming into focus right now. And we all know False Bay is False Bay, but there's so much more to it. But Mark, for a man like yourself that spends a lot of time at the ocean, why is now a critical time to really focus on these things like hope spots, especially in the False Bay area as well?
Yes, so there are a lot of problems that are facing our oceans currently, and we are reaching what they are calling like a tipping point, where there will come a moment where it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late for certain species. It's going to be too late for us to do any tangible change in our oceans. So this is a very critical time for ocean protection, where we need to get some new laws put in place to help secure our beautiful environments, so that the future generations can also enjoy False Bay and all the other unique places in the world, just like we are doing.
Because we have the most beautiful oceans worldwide, not only here in Cape Town, and we need to look after it. It's something that we can't stress enough. And there's a big responsibility, Helen, I think, on the shoulders of Two Oceans being the proud champions of the False Bay hotspot. What does this responsibility mean for you at the Two Oceans Aquarium? Because it is a big one.
It is a big one. Luckily, we share it with Cape Rad, and we're super excited about working more closely with them, and then also with all the other organizations along the False Bay coastline, because there are many organizations doing incredible work. So I'd say that, the aquarium has been nominated a co-champion alongside Cape Rad, but actually all these organizations are champions. And I think our responsibility and our partnership with Cape Rad is about bringing these organizations together, uniting us all so that we can work as one, basically, and pool our resources. So where one organization's working on a particular thing, another organization can focus its efforts on something else, so that we get all our bases covered. So that is the one kind of responsibility. And then the other thing is to just build this ocean mindful community. As you're saying, people love False Bay, they love obviously the Atlantic seaboard, but now it's really about bringing the people of Cape Town together in this incredible ocean-loving, mindful community that actually take action. So
I love that, a mindful community.
Yeah, so whenever somebody's walking on the beach, what are they doing? They're picking up litter. They're looking out for things. So it's really...
If all of us can just do that,
action.
just walk on the beach and just pick up where we go, and not think like, the bin is too far away. I think it'll bring about a massive change immediately as well. Just quickly before we wrap, there was a one-day workshop at the Two Oceans Aquarium 2 weeks ago, coordinated by Mission Blue's Dr. Earl. Some of the key takeaway points that you can share with us, maybe just to enlighten our viewers as well with regards to ocean health.
Well, again, very exciting workshop. There was something like 87 people in the room from 37 different organizations, all working around False Bay and in the ocean space. And I think for me, Mark can also comment, but I think for me what was exciting was just to see the passion. So many people just passionate about False Bay, passionate about the life that it supports, passionate about getting people into the ocean, from little kids all the way through to adults. And I think that was just amazing, and basically committing now to work to look after the ocean.
Fantastic.
And at the workshop, we kind of workshopped what the problems are and what we could do to solve these problems. And it was amazing to see that we are all kind of thinking the same thing. We all have this one goal, which is to safeguard our oceans and to bring in future generations, and all of the challenges. It's kind of, we share all of the challenges, it never just rains on one house, it rains on all of our roofs.
Exactly,
so it's lovely to see that we're all kind of going in the same direction.
Yeah, it's a communal
One
effort,
vision.
and there's organizations like yourself, that I can really steer, I think, that community in terms of what is important. Helen, thank you very much. Always
you.
lovely having someone from the Two Oceans Aquarium
Thank
with
you.
us. And Mark, you're rad. You're rad. That's cool,
Always,
man.
Thank you.
What a personality he is. Listen, it is in all our own best interest to look after our oceans, because it really does fall that responsibility on each and every one of us.